All right. We should be live. We should be live. Everything should be good to go. Want to check everything and make sure we good. I want to be live maybe for, I'll say maybe 35, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And we'll just go with that. Hopefully everything goes smooth throughout this live stream. Hopefully everything goes good. Look like so far so good. Our audio is looking good. Just want to make, I mean, well, the visuals looking good. I just want to make sure the audio looks good. Got the camera a little bit lower tonight. My son, he's behind me. He's sitting there watching TV, and I don't want it to be having it on him back there. He's just watching TV. He's chilling out. So, just another, Wednesday night. Trying to make the most of it. You know how it goes. We just living the dream. I guess. I guess it's what you call it, right? Just living the dream, making the most of what you can. So let's check this audio. Living the dream, I guess. Oh yeah, that audio sounds really good. Audio sounds real good. I'm gonna share this to the atmosphere so everybody can come through to know that we are live. All right, let's see. All right, that's good to go. All right, so what I want to talk about tonight is memorable games that you played back in the day that was very memorable to you. And it's real easy to just point out some games and show them off that we all know, because there's a lot of games out there we all can agree on that were just timeless for the time that we were actually gaming. Now me, I've been gaming since probably I can't remember the actual year, but I do remember the first game I played was on the Atari 2600, and it had to be like in the mid to late 80s. Probably looking at around 87, maybe 88. And that was around the time when the NES was out as well. So my mom had an Atari, and I didn't get a NES until like '89. So, but by then I started running through Mario One, because I had a family member that had the NES, and I didn't play Mario Two yet. So around that time, played the game, completed it, which was Mario One, and I wasn't able to play all the other Mario's till like 89, 90, like right before the Super Nintendo. I ended up playing and completing Mario, you know, 1, 2, and 3. So that was like 80, like it was 1990, 1989 round ish when Mario 3 came out. And I remember I thought it was like one of the greatest games in the world. So I made it a mission to get that game and beat it right before the Super Nintendo was coming, because I knew the Super Nintendo was coming out. And at this time, I was like, I was like 8 years old at the time, and I was like ready to go because I was born in '82, so I was like 7, 8 years old, and I was like ready for the Super Nintendo, knowing good and well I wasn't going to get it at the time. I didn't get the Super Nintendo till probably like '92 or whatever, but nevertheless, the in the NES, Mario 3 was the memorable game for me. Obviously, Mario 1, because that was like my first game that I got into. When I look at the 2600, I don't remember have many memorable games. I remember those games, but there weren't games that like what I was attached to. I think the only game that I remember that I was attached to, it was two of them. It was like Defender and Missile Command, but they wasn't like games I was really attached to. I just wanted to get good at the games, and I got pretty good at Defender and Missile Command. But I was just a bored little kid with nothing to do when I didn't go outside to play. When I went outside to play, cool. But when I was home, I played those two games. So the game that stuck with me big time was Mario 3. I thought Mario 3 was like an incredible game at the time. I remember Mario 1 was absolutely awesome, and and then I turned back around, and then I was like, okay, Mario 2 was so-so, but then I turned back around and played Mario 3. Oh, when Mario 3 was coming out, because I remember it was like this big thing about Mario 3, the movie The Wizard, and I didn't even know what the name of the movie was, but I knew a friend of mine was telling me like Mario 3 was in this movie. You need to, you need to find a way to see it, or whatever the case may be. And when I finally got to see it, I was like, oh man, I gotta get this game. I gotta get it, because this was the game that was most anticipated at the time. And that was like the game to get. So I do remember going through the whole situation with the Wizard and all that other stuff, and so I was a part of that fan base. And The first memorable game for me was Mario 3. And we can go and on about that, and it's like it's so easy to pick like the Mario games you grew up with, the Street Fighters of the world. I remember on the NES, the RC Pro Am. I was a big fan of that. Super Sprint. Uh, I'm trying to think any of Super Nintendo, Super Off Road. You kind of see where I'm going at because I was like, I've always been a big racing fan and sports game fan, so I always played those type of games. Super Tennis. When it came to other games on the Super Nintendo, I played the Castlevanias. Super Castlevania 4 was a memorable game. Zelda Link to the Past was absolutely awesome. So these are a lot of games that I played back then. So I could I'll go on for hours and hours if I really was to go on with those games from that era. Jumping to the next generation, which was the fifth generation at that time. You had the PlayStation, N64. There you go, exactly. Chrono Trigger was another great game on the Super Nintendo. That's a phenomenal game. What's up, Tomaticus? I thank you for coming through. Jumping over to the fifth generation, the sixth generation, fifth generation with the PlayStation 1. I remember playing games like Loaded. I remember playing, the Street Fighter Alpha. That was a great game. The PlayStation 1 was a console that, at the time, my mom and dad was separated at the time. My mom had a boyfriend and he bought a PlayStation. He thought the games like Loaded was like one of the greatest games ever. He thought Mortal Kombat 3 was absolutely awesome. I think Mortal Kombat 3 was a launch title. I think he thought that was absolutely phenomenal. For me, I was a Nintendo kid, so it's not that I did not like the PlayStation. I wanted the N64 because I was like the Nintendo kid. My cousin, he was a Sega kid, so I used to go over there for the Genesis, played all the Sonics. Streets of Rage. Like I said, I'll be here forever just going down the list of all those games. It's just crazy how well some of those games that was, built back then, and some of them actually hold up very well now. It was another game. It was like a Fist of the North Star game for the Genesis. I think it was Last Battle. That was another game that my cousin used to absolutely love. Super Ghouls and Ghosts. He was a huge fan of that for the Super Nintendo when I had that game. So going back to the PlayStation, like I said, my uh, mom's boyfriend was a big fan of the PlayStation, and I wasn't really into it. And I was like, okay, I like Mortal Kombat 3. And Alter Beast was another one. Yeah, Alter Beast was another game that my cousin used to love. He loved that game a lot. But I remember Last Battle was the game that he was determined to finish that game, and I think that's like it was a localization version of Fist of the North Star. But he was determined to play that game, so that was his memorable game. And I remember he like to this day he doesn't play games that much. And like before I get into the N64, I'll talk about him for a second. Hold on, y'all. My son is spinning around. Okay, sit down, babe. Sit down. I don't want you to fall. My son is. I know he's getting sleepy. It's getting a little late, so that's how it is with him. But uh, Fist of the North Star, Last Battle, and for the Dreamcast, he used to love NBA 2K2. So it was that game, was Last Battle, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and NBA 2K2. But like I said, for me, I didn't go to the PlayStation when I started. I jumped to the N64, and when I played that, obviously Mario 64 was a great game. Those are the games that Mario Kart 64. I remember playing a lot. Now, the one of the first game I actually completed on the N64 was Cruising USA. I completed Cruising USA. That was the first game because it was just so easy. All you had to do was just drive. But for the most part, I ended up beating, Mario 64. GoldenEye was another one. And speaking of GoldenEye, that may be a game I need to stream on the Xbox Series because it's on Game Pass or whatever. And I may go through that game again because that was a pretty cool game for its time. But GoldenEye was another game. Another game that came out for N64 that I played that a lot of people really didn't think about too much was what was the game? It's um Command and Conquer was another game that a lot of people didn't play, but I played a lot of that. But I ended up playing all of the Cruising series, Cruising USA, Cruising World, Cruising Exotica. I still have those games to this day, and those games I absolutely love. So with the N64, we did a lot of GoldenEye, Cruising USA, NBA. Actually, we played a lot of NBA Showtime. No, not NBA Showtime. NBA Hang Time. That was another game we played. 'Cause we was big in NBA Jam fans, um, and I was a big fan of NBA Jam Tournament Edition, which was another game on the Super Nintendo that I played that I still play to this day, even with the Super Nintendo all the way up to the Sega Saturn and PlayStation version. I'll still play those. And so a lot of the N64 games that I played was back then. Ocarina of Time was another one. Resident Evil 2, I played a little bit of that. Um, Top Gear Rally was another game I played on the N64. I'm thinking about another game that I played that maybe not many people really think about. I remember Clay Fighters that came out for that. Kobe Bryant Basketball was a good game that came out on there, and Mortal Kombat Trilogy was another good one. And I remember playing a lot of Mortal Kombat Trilogy with my friends. So, but when we played the N64, it was a lot of four-player games. So obviously with the four-player games, we played GoldenEye, played NBA Hang Time, and we played what was the other game we played that was four? I remember we played Kobe Bryant basketball with four players, and it was another game that we played with four players, but I can't remember. F Zero X, we didn't play that four players, but I did play it, and that's only F Zero X is the only F Zero I played that I did not complete. To me, that's not that much of a memorable game to me because I played F Zero on the Super Nintendo, but I didn't get back into F Zero until F Zero GX for the GameCube, and that's a phenomenal game as well. But F Zero X is the one I did not play, and actually, well, I didn't play that much. And to be honest, I that's one of the next games I may buy for the N64 because I that's one of the few I don't have. I have like maybe like 40 or 50, and I probably got less than that. Probably got anywhere between 20 N64 games, and F Zero X I saw for sale at this pawn shop I had up here. And when I had it, well, when I was going to buy it, it was a little bit out of the price range that I wanted to pay for it. I think they had it for almost like $50. And I'm like, oh my God, why y'all can't just drop the price at least down to like 20 more? And I tried to talk him down, but he wasn't going to go. I told him I'd do 30 and he wanted to go like 40. He wanted to go, and he didn't go no lower than 45. Yeah, NBA Courtside, the Kobe Bryant game. That's the one I played on N64. Speaking of that, I'll talk about that one on the GameCube as well. And I really want to go in depth on that Kobe Bryant game at some point. We'll talk about that in a second. Antonio, hopefully you having a good night. Hopefully everything is going good with you. I appreciate you coming by, brother. Let's see. So skipping, not gonna say skipping, but moving on from the N64. After that, I went to the Dreamcast. Because the Dreamcast was the next one I got, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not gonna go too in depth with the Dreamcast because I really could do one entire live stream on the Dreamcast. I will say this: every Street Fighter game or Capcom fighting game that came out on the Dreamcast, absolutely memorable. Every I'll say uh, every NFL or NBA 2K game that came out, that was memorable. I remember playing oh goodness, V Rally. I remember playing Vanishing Point. I remember playing TNN Motorsports. I remember playing what other game? I remember playing Mars Matrix. I mean, it's so many games I played on the Dreamcast that I could go on forever. Shenmue One, memorable games. Just because the truth be told, the Dreamcast is the first console I bought with my own money. Everything else I bought, my mom bought for me. My mom bought my NES, Super Nintendo, N64. She bought all of those for me. And like I said, my mom's boyfriend at the time, he had the a PlayStation. And when the Dreamcast came out, I was like all in. I wanted a Dreamcast because I missed out on the Saturn. I mean, if you lived in the States, not too many people played the Saturn. So I wanted to get a Dreamcast for compensation. Bought mine first day, 99.99, and I bought it with like NBA 2K. I think NFL 2K came along with it. I got like 3 games with it because I had a little job back then and I bought up my own money. Marvel's Capcom 2, like I said, the Street Fighter games I can go all day. Um, One game that did stand out big time for the Dreamcast that not many people would talk about is NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. It's like an NBA Jam style game in 3D. It plays just like the arcade. It looks beautiful. Pretty much a lot of games on the Dreamcast look beautiful. You have it, at 480p through VGA. It looks absolutely awesome. And that was a 4-player game we all played together. Me and my friends. We also played Marvel's Capcom 1, where you can get 4 players and you could do them crossover game match. We had 2 players versus 2 players. Played that. Also, oh, it just slipped my mind. What other game we played on the drink? It just slipped my mind. Oh, didn't play with my friends, but I played Resident Evil Code Veronica, which was like the definitive version of that game. I think it was like, matter of fact, it wasn't the definitive version; it was the exclusive for it. So that was a game that I absolutely played and had fun with. And that I still have that game to this day, and I'm actually surprised. Well, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm surprised they haven't remade that particular one yet. They may do it because they've been remastering or remaking a lot of the Resident Evils. So yeah, so be on the lookout for that. Probably next 2, 3, 4 years. I'm trying to think anything else on the Dreamcast before I jump over to original Xbox, GameCube, PS2. And this is where I'm gonna speed up a little bit because I'm just gonna probably take one game at a time for each console because I got a couple of games right here. Actually, I got 2 games right here that I want to point out that not too many people talk about, but they were memorable for my time, and both of them are in the 6th and 7th generation. So by then the Dreamcast kind of fell off. Basically, I kept my most of my Dreamcast games, and I jumped over to the original Xbox. And you don't, if you know anything about my collection, I don't know if you see it. Like you see these two, those are all original Xbox games right there. So I don't need to go into depth about that. Few notable games that are memorable to me is basically the original Xbox is my favorite console. So the few games is my favorite console of all time, the original Xbox. So the memorable games to me, Forza One, you got Scarface, which is a great one. The It's so easy to see the Grand Theft Auto games, right? I mean, they were like the definitive version on Xbox. Um, what else was really good on there? Like exclusives, Links 2004, the NFL Fever, Inside Drive, Toka Race Driver 2 and 3, Project Gotham Racing. What else? Yeah, Dead or Alive, the entire collection, 1, 2, and 3, but you could play those now on the Xbox Series. I mean, the list goes on and on with the original Xbox. I could make a whole nother video on that. So, I did get an original Xbox, and then I waited a couple of years later to get GameCube, and I'll get back to the PS2 because basically the PS2 was given to me shortly, after it was released, but I really didn't get into it. Just had a couple of games for it, but I was all in on the original Xbox. But uh, what did Antonio say? Have I played NBA 2K2 on any other console or just no? I'll play NBA 2K2 on the Dreamcast and on the original Xbox. I have both of those over here. Just 1 second, just to show you. Now, my The one on the Dreamcast is in the bin over there. I did a video about, well, my last time I did a video, all of my other console games like Dreamcast on down is in a bin, so it's not posted up like the other ones back here. But I mean, I don't know which one is. I can't say which one is necessarily better. Both of them basically play the same. But I do think this one has a little bit more animations than the Dreamcast version. It has like more crossover animations, and obviously, I think the rosters were more updated because this one came out like a couple of months after the Dreamcast version. So yeah, I played it on both Dreamcast and the original Xbox. I didn't play it on the PS2 though. Speaking of the PS2, real quick, memorable games on there. Obviously, the God of Wars, 1 and 2. You also had Ratchet and Clank. I mean, we all know the ones that I did, but there's a few games that are on there that nobody really talk about. Like, for instance, Shinobi on the PS2 is really good. Nobody talks about that much. You also had Enthusia Professional Racing, which is a very good game. And to be honest, I like that game a little bit more than Gran Turismo 4. I know some people may think I'm crazy for that. I like Gran Turismo 4, but I think Enthusia Professional Racing is very, very good, and I love the mechanics of that game. Uh, what else I would say that was pretty good on the PlayStation 2? Obviously, Tekken, Tekken 4, Tekken 5 is a classic. Hold on a second. Son, give me those games right there for me, baby. Yeah, all three of them. Give me all three of them right there. All right, thank you. These are just sitting out here, so I decided to pick these, just show these to you. Obviously, Gran Turismo 4, which I do think Enthusia is better. Don't shoot me. This game right here is absolutely, this is a classic. To this day, this may be the best Tekken game out. Tekken 5 is absolutely amazing, especially on the PS2. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to talk about Shadow of the Colossus in a second. That and Eco. Um, this game right here is probably the best Tekken that came out to this day, especially the PS2 version. This game actually has Tekken 1, 2, and 3 on it, the arcade versions, and it has so many other unlockables. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about this game and put that on over there. But yeah, Shadow of the Colossus, phenomenal game on the PS2. One of the few games that I ain't gonna say few, but one game that does run in 240p for the PlayStation 2, which if you were playing it on a CRT, though that game looks absolutely beautiful on a PlayStation 2, on a CRT. Eco is another really good one. You can buy those games collectively on a PS3 remaster, but it's just something about that game, special charm playing it on the PS2. Uh, let's say you get the Final Fantasies. Those are the Final Fantasy that's on PS2 is pretty good. Really like that game. Fatal Frame is another good game. I love horror games. Fatal Frame, the Resident Evil 4, which I think that's, to me, I feel like the Resident Evil 4 from that era back in 2005 is more of a GameCube game, but you can't go wrong with playing it on the PS2. Hell, you can play that game everywhere now. It's on the PS3, it's on the PS4. Um, it's on the Xbox original. I mean, not original, but it's on the Xbox 360. It's on the Xbox One. You can play the original Resident Evil 4 almost anywhere now. It's on PC, and the remake is just as good. But the classic one is the classic. The Metal Gear Solid games. Snake Eater is about to be really re-released again, but the PlayStation 2 version was absolutely awesome. Sons of Liberty, that was great. So it's so many games on the PlayStation 2 that you can go back and play to this day, and they hold up very well. The first Killzone, yeah, I don't know. The Ratchet and Clanks on them, yes, absolutely. Snake Eater was amazing. Incredible game. I've completed that game at least 2 times on the PS2, and I completed it on. I haven't completed on the PS3 though, because I do want to do the HD collection version. First, Splinter Cell. You know something? I never really got into Splinter Cell until the one on the Xbox. It wasn't Chaos Theory. It was just a regular Splinter Cell that was on Xbox. Because I think what Splinter Cell has been out for a while, but I haven't. The one I remember playing is one on the original Xbox. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, another great one. Yeah, that's a good one. You can't go wrong with that. Beyond Good and Evil is another good one. Yeah, that's the one I remember. The first Splinter Cell. I remember playing on Xbox. I don't remember playing on the PS2. That's why I'm saying I don't remember playing it on the PS2. So when we were talking PS2, it just didn't go across my mind. I always remember playing it on the Xbox. To be honest with you, I don't even recognize it being on the PS2 now. Come to think about it, all this time I've been gaming with all these games I collect, I don't remember seeing a copy of Splinter Cell on the PS2. And I know it wasn't exclusive for the Xbox. I know it wasn't. I just never thought about it. That's crazy. All the time I just thought I always looked at it as an Xbox game. Because I have all of them over here. Splinter Cell, Chaos Theory, Pandora's Tomorrow, Double Agent. I have all of them over here, but I don't remember seeing not one copy on the PS2. That is crazy the more I think about it. And I know there were. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, that's what I'm saying. All the copies you see in the wild are Xbox. I don't never remember seeing them on the PS2. That's crazy. The more, and I know, like I said, I know it wasn't exclusive. I know it wasn't exclusive. That's crazy. But PlayStation 2 got so many games. Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper. So you got it for the PS2. You randomly picked it up at a thrift store. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna have to go to a gaming store just to see, because I don't never remember seeing one. I never remember seeing a physical copy of the PS2 version. I just never thought about it. You just come to think about it. Now the Xbox version looks. I mean, this is the thing about Xbox, and I'm gonna get into the GameCube in a second. This is what I remember. This is one of the reasons why I love the Xbox. First of all, because I thought it was the Dreamcast 2 back in the day. I thought it was I thought it was the successor of the Dreamcast. So I was already a big Dreamcast fan. So I went to Xbox, not the PS2, because like I said, I had one a little bit after us. Xbox games just look better on the Xbox compared to PS2. Now, this doesn't mean that the PS2 was bad, because the PS2 had the library. PlayStation had the library. And they some of the games were just better. Like, for instance, you go get like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 for the PlayStation 2 is way better than the Xbox and GameCube version. And there was other games where the PlayStation 2 just got extra stuff because the PlayStation 2 was the more popular console. But when it comes to graphics and the way games look and the way games ran in some cases, the Xbox was just a more powerful console to do so. You forgot I had an original Xbox version. Yeah, I got that, and I have the Dreamcast version as well. Growing up on PS2, coming from N64, the Xbox games look better. Yeah, they just did. But the way that I like I love the original Xbox, but the PlayStation 2, I love them for the library. I just got finished live streaming Doom 3 on the original Xbox, and if you go look at that game, it looks like a game that could have been, put out today. It still looks that good. But then again, just like I said earlier, Xbox don't have this. They don't have games like this. You know what I mean? They didn't have, even though they did have Forza, which I think Forza is a slightly better game. They didn't have Gran Turismo, which was a little bit more in depth on what they wanted to do. They just didn't have it. And that's why the PlayStation 2, I love what they did. But um, getting into the GameCube, obviously, um, when I first got the GameCube, the first game I really wanted to play was it was obvious. It was what was the game that came? I know Luigi Mansion came out around that time. I wanted to play Mario Sunshine. I wanted to play Double Dash. Um, I did wanted to play. No, Xbox did not have Final Fantasy. No, Xbox did not have Final Fantasy. No, they did not. Xbox didn't have Final Fantasy till the Xbox 360. Yeah, that was the first time, and they didn't have Resident Evil either until Xbox 360. It was kind of crazy. Um, I remember. What is that Zelda game that came out for the GameCube? Oh man, I never got a chance to really play it because I played a lot of Ocarina of Time on the N64. Ikaruga was on GameCube, and Ikaruga was also on the Dreamcast, where I played it on Dreamcast first. I didn't get to play. I didn't get to play Ikaruga on GameCube till later. I played Ikaruga on the Dreamcast first. Twilight Princess. Okay, that's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah, RE5 kid. That was the first time it came to the 360. All the other ones was on PlayStation, and RE4 was exclusive to the GameCube until then. And I remember I wanted to play that game like crazy, and I finally got a chance to play that, and I did not stop playing that till I beat it. And even though they have like definitive versions of the remake of Resident Evil 2 and 3, I didn't even really get into those, which I kind of regret. I just bought Resident Evil 2 for the GameCube, and I'm going to play that, and I never got a chance to play it. But Res 4 was like the game. Mario Kart Double Dash. One game that I really feel that's memorable that nobody really talks about a lot, which, you know, this game needs to be re-released. This game needs to either be re-released or it needs to be remastered, one of the two, because they done did Metroid, they done did Metroid Prime, they done did all these, they did the Mario collection, they did all of this other stuff. We already talked about F-Zero. We already talked about F-Zero GX for a little bit. Wind Waker was on GameCube too, but I didn't play Wind Waker that much. I didn't play it that much. And that's a game I have. Matter of fact, I have Wind Waker HD on the Wii U, and I've been putting it off playing it. Wait a minute. Let me make sure if I got it. Hold on. Let me make sure if I got this game. Hold on. Wait a minute. There's Twilight Princess. I don't have Wind Waker? Oh, here it is. I'm about to say. No, I wasn't tripping. Yeah, see, I have it, and I keep putting it off on playing it. And I bought this. God. Now, don't get me wrong, I've played it, but I haven't played it like go through it. But I had this for probably about 5, maybe 6 years now. And every time I say I'm gonna play it, I put it off. But then again, I go play Hyrule Warriors. I play, Twilight Princess HD. I played a little bit of that. But I played this like maybe 30 minutes and I just put it down. It's kind of crazy. The GameCube version, I don't mind picking up the GameCube version, and actually I would like to play the original versions of games before I do it, before I play the HD version. But I mean, it just depends on if I feel like playing it a lot. Didn't like the art style of Wind Waker. Art style was more realistic when they first talked about it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Now, back to what I was talking about, the game that needs to be re-released or remastered, because it kind of threw me off a little bit. They kind of abandoned this IP, and this is a phenomenal game for the GameCube. like I said, they did Metroid, they did the Mario's, they did Mario 64, they did Sunshine, they did Galaxy. If you buy like the Switch collection or whatever, they got the 30-year collection or something like that. They got the Mario collection, and they turned around and did, like I said, they did Metroid Prime. This game right here, I love this game. Star Fox Assault. This game does not get the recognition that it needs. And I remember buying this, and I still have it right here on the tag. I bought this for $24.99, and at the time it was pretty much new. It didn't have the wrap on it. It didn't have the wrap on it, but it had the seal right here where it was never open. And for some reason, the place I bought it from, they put the sticker on it, and it was never open. So I basically bought a new copy of this back then. And this game is a memorable game to me. They need to re-release this, but they've abandoned the Star Fox IP. They don't even recognize the Star Fox IP. And the thing about it is, they made a big deal about it when Star Fox 2 came out for the Super Nintendo Mini. This little bad boy right here. You can play Star Fox 2 on this, and I thought it would have been a pretty good idea to bring out some of the Star Fox games. And Star Fox Assault is basically locked on the GameCube, and I remember playing and completing this game, and this game is absolutely phenomenal. This is probably like the last Star Fox that really mimicked what Star Fox was, because they got the one on the Switch. No, I'm sorry, they got the one on the Wii U that was so. But this right here is the game that they really need to put this back out. They force you to play Starlink versus Star. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like you gotta play these other games. They got another game that's on Steam right now. I don't know if it's been. I think it's locked to Steam. I'm gonna see if I can find it on my computer real quick because I'm not using my computer to go live right now. So it's a game called X Zodiac. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna type this in and show. It's called EX. I'll make sure I'm spelling this right. I was just looking at it. EX, yeah. ZODAC. No, did I spell it right? Yeah, AC. IAC. That's the name of the game right there. It's called X Zodiac. I don't know if that game is out on any other console or whatever, but I know it's on Steam. It's just like Star Fox for Super Nintendo. And it's a game that like I would love for them to re-release this. This is definitely one of my most memorable games on the GameCube. Like you got a whole bunch of other classics that are on the GameCube, but it's just something about this Bloody Roar, Primal Fury, WrestleMania 18, and I don't even want to get into the wrestling games because the wrestling games on the N64. I mean, I feel bad for overlooking them, just not even talking about them. But those were memorable. The WWE games or WWF games, extremely memorable on that. And it was just a time where the sixth generation was basically, in my opinion, probably like one of the best moments in gaming. All the games came out, they were basically done. You may have a little bit of bugs here and there, but you didn't have to worry about crazy patches. I think the original Xbox did drop some games that needed patches, but that was few and far between. Also, it goes without saying, talking about Halo. I don't even want to talk about that. That was more. Halo 1 was more memorable to me than Halo 2. So let's not go that far into those. We kind of know where they stand. But the sixth generation was probably like one of the better generations for me, because then you also talk about, like I said, I like racing games. You got the Colin McRae games, Colin McRae games. Then you have What's the other rally game? The WRC rally, V Rally 2, V Rally 3. You had so many great games that came out, you know. Um, and that's something that I was gonna that's something I always go back to. Tomatica says try Rogue Flight for PS5. Let me look that up real quick. So, oh, I'm already hooked. I'm hooked already. All I did was press enter, and I'm already. I see the pictures. I'm already hooked. It came out in October 2024. Yeah, I'm gonna. So this is also on PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series, and is also on Steam. 17.99, 13.99 on the Switch, 13.99 on the PlayStation Store. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. They actually have physical copies on Amazon for $33. I'd rather get a physical copy if I was to get this. Wait a minute. Oh, see, you done messed me up now, man. There's another game that popped up just like Rogue Flight. I can't pronounce this, but this is what it's called. CYGNI. It's another game that's just like this, made by Konami. Like I said, I'm using my tablet to go live, so I can't like share the screen, which I'm kind of mad about that. But I'll work on that in due time. Okay, you got me sold. I'm about to put this on the wish list on on Amazon because I want a physical copy of this, and I really wasn't really into buying physical copies of games anymore. Not like that. But now you done got me wanting to get this. Where's my wish list at? Here we go. All right, bet. All right, back to what we was talking about. Leaving the sixth generation, which I thought was great, going into the seventh generation. I bought a 360 first. Really didn't catch no games really caught my eye on the 360. I'm gonna be honest with you. At that time, I used my 360. I remember I was in college and I had a 360, and it was like my last year of college when it came out. And I got a 360, and back then the 360 wasn't backwards compatible. You had to download the patch to get the backwards compatibility on Xbox Live, or get it through Xbox Live, or you can actually download the patch on a disc, on a blank disc. Take that disc and put it in your 360, and it would download the patch off the disc so you can play backwards compatible games. So I mainly use the 360 to play backwards compatible games or original Xbox games on my 360. What tablet I'm using? It looks pretty good. This is a Samsung A9. Yeah, this is a Samsung A9 tablet. Yeah, it's a Samsung Galaxy Tab A9 Plus. Yeah, A9 Plus. It's a pretty good tablet, man. I kind of stepped away from Apple, which I have nothing against Apple, but Apple was a little bit too restrictive for what I want to do. I went back to Android, and I got my phone. And when I had got my phone, the tablets, well, my wife wanted a tablet, and she ended up getting one for me, my son, and getting one for her. So all of us got tablets, and we've been using it ever since. And it's a pretty good tablet, pretty good. So I never really got into the 360. to be honest. It's just something about it I just never got into. I did remember playing a few games like Forza 2 or whatever the case may be, but I end up jumping ship and I went to the 360. Now, when the 360 came out, they didn't have that, not the 360. Oh my God, back up. I jumped over to the PS3. And the reason why I went to the PS3 because I like the fact that the 360 was backwards compatible at the time when I was using it, but it wasn't backwards compatible with all the games. But when the PS3 came out, it was backwards compatible with everything. It was backwards compatible with PS1, PS2, and that what made me get back into the PS1 games. That's when I started going back to play Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Gran Turismo 2. I went back to play Loaded. I played, the Crash Bandicoots. I started playing all of those because the PS3 was backwards compatible. PS2, that's when I got into the God of Wars. Even though I already had a PS2, all of my attention was on the original Xbox. But by the time the PS3 came out, I wanted the new hardware. And that's when I started playing the PS2 games. I went back to play Fatal Frame. I went back to play the God of War series, which really God of War was kind of like just coming out around that time. I think it was like 2005 was God of War 2, I think. But you kind of get what I'm saying. I started playing those games again and kind of abandoned the 360 a little bit. If I could think of some games that was memorable, Halo 3, obviously, Gears of War 1, that was a good one. I really started going back to play the 360 later, probably around 2010, 2011. And that was like probably the last part, but I started collecting some games for it. And then 99 Nights, I remember playing that on the 360. Rockstar Table Tennis, Need for Speed Most Wanted. Now, that was one game I did play on the Xbox 360. Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005, excellent game. So good, I went to play Need for Speed Carbon. Ended up getting that as well. Dead or Alive 4 was another great game that was memorable to me. Like I said, 99 Nights was another one. I remember playing a little bit of that. Goodness. But most of my stuff was on the PS3. And when Uncharted came out, that was kind of like a wrap. I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed, but it was okay. Played a little bit of Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider Legend. I played a little bit of that on the original Xbox, but the trilogy came out. Tomb Raider Legend came out. No, it came out on the 360, but when the trilogy came out, I started playing on the PS3, which I still play those to this day. There was Legend, Underworld, and the Anniversary Collection edition. Started playing that, and that was great. Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, memorable games. And I got one more game I want to talk about that I have up here that need to be re-released. They need to make a real collection of this IP, and I don't think they will. They kind of abandoned this one as well, just like Star Fox. Sony need to get back on the ball on that because that really irks me. But nevertheless, it is what it is. This game, I played this from start to finish, and I absolutely love this game. And if you haven't played, I highly recommend it. Killzone 2 is a phenomenal game on the PlayStation 3. Probably one of my favorites. Didn't too much care for Killzone 1, but as far as memorable games, Killzone 2 was that game. And I absolutely love this game. Make me definitely want to go back and play this one again now that I think about it. I tried to go back and play the trilogy all over again. I went back and played Killzone 1 on PS2. Man, that game's rough to play. It's hard to go back with the controls. It's pretty rough. I may try to finish it because I'm not that far done with it, but the controls are so bad I kind of just like, can't do it no more. But this one here, this one plays great. Absolutely great game. Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3. What was another game that was on? Gran Turismo 6. That's a great game to play. Split Second is another game. Fight Night Champion. Oh my God, another great game. Um, All Pro Football 2K8, which was more of a 360 game to me, but PS3 was good as well. And I can go through all the sports games that I played back in the day, but I'll be here all day, so I don't even want to go into that. Uh, NCAA 14 was a good one. That's one to mention. What's the other good PS3 game? I'll look over here. Dirt 2. That was a good game. Pretty good rally game. WRC 3 and 4. WRC 5 is not that good on the PS3. It doesn't run that good. Renegade Ops. I don't know if you guys could get this game. It's called Renegade Ops. If you have a PC, you can buy it on PC. Very good top-down shooter, military shooter. Very good game. I did a video about Renegade Ops on this channel a while back. Blitz 2 was absolutely fun. Blitz, which I haven't talked about. I mean, how could you talk about NBA Hang Time? I talked about NBA Hang Time, NBA Jam, and not mention Blitz. Blitz were good all the way back in the day. Blitz 99, Blitz 2000, Blitz Pro, Blitz the League, Blitz 2, the Blitz that's on PS3 right now. All of these are phenomenal games, and I don't understand why it's a game that's not being re-released. That in NBA Jam is just locked. It's locked to the PS3, and you can play NBA Jam on Fire Edition on the Xbox Series, but they need to make another version of these games. Blitz definitely need a re-release. I think those games would be absolutely awesome because I kind of lean towards the arcade game a little bit more than the simulation one anyway. I did a live stream of Spec Ops: The Line, which was another game that's from the PS3, Xbox 360 era, which was very memorable. I still love that game to this day. Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Street Fighter 4, King of Fighters 13, Mortal Kombat 9. We can even go back, play Max Payne 3, Grand Theft Auto 4, Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, and Metal Gear Solid 5, Grid 1, Grid 2, Grid Autosport. What else came out around that time? I mean, I could name so many games on the 7th generation because just like the 6th generation, which was a area where I could just list games off, I could do the same for the 7th. But after Tekken 6 is another one. I talked about Dead or Alive 4. Dead or Alive 5 was technically a PS3, Xbox 360 game. You can go down the list and just talk about these games all day long. Lara Croft, Guardian of the goodness, what was the name of that game? Guardian of the Light. They had a sequel to that too. I can't remember. It was Temple of Orisis. That was it. Doom 3 was re-released on the Xbox 360, PS3. I mean, it's just so many games. Dirt 3. I'm trying to think anything else. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. Did I say Tekken 6? I said Max Payne 3. Max Payne 1 and 2 was great back then too on the 6th generation. And those type of games just basically were the BioShocks of the world. Just naming off all those games just make you think about what's going on in gaming today. Don't get me wrong, I think the last generation was pretty good. SOCOM 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm glad you said that. A lot of people sleep on SOCOM 4. That was a really good game for the PS3. And the first 3 SOCOMs are absolutely excellent. Did you know people are still playing those games on the PS2 online? People are still playing the SOCOM games on PS2 online, and I think they're playing SOCOM Confrontation on PS3 online to this day. There's workarounds where you can do peer-to-peer through PS2. Also, on PS3, I mean, I think those servers are still up on some of those PS3 games, but you can backdoor that one as well. Pause. Also, you can on original Xbox, you can go back and play original Xbox games through Xbox Live. You can backdoor that as well. And also, a lot of people may not know this. The Dreamcast is online again. You okay, son? Okay. Go ahead. Go check on mommy for me. Okay. Oh, okay. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I bet they are. No, my son getting sleepy. He try to stay up here with me. Nevertheless, yeah, the Dreamcast is online again. And actually, the Dreamcast actually has cloud saves, which is it's crazy what they're doing with these new consoles now. I mean, these old consoles, absolutely amazing. But when you look at all these games that I just mentioned, it makes you think like I don't think these last couple of generations have been bad, but the creativity of these games are just not what it used to be. You know, I just don't see it. Like earlier, Tomaticus, I think I said that right. Tomaticus was just talking about this game called Rogue Flight, which I didn't know nothing about. But those are the type of games that I was talking about back on my other live. Like, those are the type of games you're going to have to find nowadays. You're going to have to try to find those type of games that will suit you, you know, or put you in the right position to make you feel like your console is worthy now. Because a lot of these AAA titles that used to be AAAs back in the day, that are all the ones I just mentioned, you don't get that high quality of games like that no more. A lot of people are already talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows about to be a flop. A lot of people are talking about Avowed, that new game Avowed. A lot of people saying that that's not as good as they thought it to be. You know, it's kind of crazy, but when you think about the games, I can go into the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, but I don't have any really memorable games as of right now for those two generations. If there's one game I could think of right now that was actually pretty good for this generation right now, it probably was not Breath of the Wild, but Tears of the Kingdom by what you call it by Nintendo. Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I have all three Resistance games, and I only played the first one, but I've heard all three of them are really, really good. It's another part of the backlog I need to finish. I mean, I played them just to see if they work, but I didn't like play them. So I'm like, I don't know if my save is still there, but I kind of got like halfway through the first one, and I didn't finish it, which I should have. So I got all three of those back there on the PS3 case, which I'll show you real quick. It's almost about time I'm get ready to close this up, but I'm gonna show you where are they. Bam, all three of them right next to each other. Ain't that something? All three Resistance games right here. Fall of Man, Resistance 2. I need to clean that up. And the first one. And Resistance 3. So I got all three of them. I just need to go and finish them up. But like I said, nowadays you don't have those type of games that are really memorable or anything like that. Not new games anyway. I think I did a video on this as well where I talked about like last year it was like only like 12 or 6 or 8% of gamers only played games that was released in 2024. Everybody was playing older games. And that's the thing, like with Game Pass, you could play these great 360 games. You know, you could play original Xbox games that were great. On the PlayStation 5, you can go and buy the high price PlayStation Plus, which is like 130 something dollars, and you can play PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games, or even in some cases, some PS4 games that are genuinely backwards compatible. They will play in your PS5, and they can give you that moment when you was playing like these great games that were from yesteryear. But nowadays, you just look at me like, yeah, this game might be all right. I don't know, but I guess that's where we live. Maybe in a few months, maybe in a year or so, we'll probably look at it differently and be like, oh man, these games are great. We just didn't realize it. But I know one thing, like back then when I was playing those older games, I knew I was playing greatness back then. I knew I was playing greatness when, I played, you know, Star Fox. You know, I knew I was playing a great game when I was playing Killzone 2 at that time. You know, so you got to go through and just find the games that work out for you today, because there's not a game that comes out to be like, oh man, it's going to be great and it's great. Kenneth Mullen says, I'm playing a game called Spirit Mancer, wonderful game. See, you giving me another tip on a game I should play. Let me put this in, see how I can look at this. There it is, right there. Spirit Mancer. Wait a minute, this is a 2D game? Well, let me look at this. Oh, this looks good. Yeah, I like 2D. I like 2D games. This is pretty neat, but see, this go back to what I'm saying. This is an indie game, a hack and slash 2D game. That's an indie game. These are the type of games that make gaming fun nowadays. These AAA titles can easily make a game just as fun as this, but it's too much of a cash grab now. Not too many people want to do that anymore. I'm gonna put this on my wish list for Steam. This is like something that my son would play. Cause see, this is the thing. It was another game I was playing that's similar to this. Uh, this reminds me of Freedom Planet 2. It reminds me of Freedom Planet 2. Yeah, this is like something that we could all play together, me and my wife, and my son. But this reminds me of Freedom Planet. If you ever played Freedom Planet 2, if you played this, you would like Freedom Planet 2. Freedom Planet 2 is a phenomenal game, and it gives me those same vibes. Yeah, I'm putting this on my wish list. This is great. I'm gonna put this on my Steam wish list. Good looking out. And look like this publisher does a lot of other different games too. Okay. Yeah, look, Mooley's Dreamland. Yeah, this publisher got other games out that look just as good. OK Joy franchise. The publisher is OK Joy. Yeah, I'm gonna put this on my wish list. Put it. Good looking out. Good looking out. Well, I'm up to an hour now. I didn't plan on being here no more than an hour. I said 45 minutes to an hour I was going to be on here, and I wanted to stop like right there at the 7th generation because let's be honest, the 8th and 9th generation, the PS4 and the PS5, the Xbox One, the Xbox Series, those generations are still like going to this day, right? I don't think the PlayStation 4 generation technically died yet because they're still making games for the PlayStation 4. They're still they claim they're not making games for the Xbox One, but they really kind of are. And, you know, any game that comes off of the Xbox Series, you can play it on the Xbox One. So it's yeah, you know what I mean. So I wanted to stop right there because there are a few games that are out there that you could mention from those two generations. I think Rise Son of Rome was one of those games that was really good that people kind of overlook now. But I don't want to get into that complete generation. You know, Gears 5 is another one that was pretty solid too. But yeah, but you know, Knack for the PlayStation, and just to be fair, I'm gonna name another one. Killzone Shadowfall was another good one for the PS4. PS5, you had Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. That was a good one. So you got some games that came out around that time. It was good, but I don't think we had it as good as we did back in the 7th, 6th generation, man. I just don't think so. And it's not saying that these current generations are bad. It's just you just don't get that feeling. Maybe because we're getting older. I don't know. But I know a great game when I see one. And you just showed me Spiritmancer. What's his name? Tomaticus just showed me Rogue Flight. So we can still get that feeling of knowing great games when we see them. They're just not being released. So, in my opinion. But I'm gonna get out of here. It is what Wednesday. Probably be back live on Friday. I don't know about tomorrow, but I'll probably be back live Friday. We'll see how that goes. I'm trying to go live every other day and see how that plays out. If not, try to go at least, you know, every day. But I'm not going to sit here and say I'll be back tomorrow, but I'll probably be back Friday more than likely. I may work late, but still, I'll still make time to come here and we'll chop it up once again. Thanks to everybody who coming through. Kenneth Mullen, Tomaticus, Antonio, Honey Flakes. Hey, that's a pretty dope name. I just really realized that. Honey Flakes. Thanks to everybody who came through. You guys are absolutely amazing. You guys are awesome. If you haven't subscribe already. Like the video. Let people know. Liking the video, let other people know what we're doing over here so they'll come through and we'll have a bigger and better discussion with more people in the chat. I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys. I'm going to get ready to go to bed. I got to work in the morning. I will be doing a video for tomorrow. I'll try to do a video every day. Go live on Friday. We'll just go from there, play it by ear. And yeah, once again, I'll see you guys then. All right, y'all. You have a good night. I'm out. Peace.